All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to another live stream for me. Beast is my name. And today in that live stream, finally, after I don't know how many twice we tried it now to get this interview done, we have it here today. The interview with Dark, the R5 from EIS. And there will be some questions which I'm gonna ask him directly. And then also at the end, there's gonna be the option for you guys to ask him whatever questions you have on your mind, on your heart. Thanks everyone who's here. I see we have already a lot of um going on in the chat. That's crazy, guys. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're all being healthy. So yeah, I would say we're gonna go directly into the interview and starting first of all with you person directly. So say, who are you?
Hey Beast, thanks for having me. I am Darkkill, the leader of Eminence and Shadows, or I guess in game I'm Supreme King Dark. Go by Dark, and most of the names I usually switch it up season to season just for fun and to change things up. A lot of people know me as Darkkill though from any of the other games and in my tags. I'm happy to be here and happy to chat about EIS.
Awesome. So let us know, how did you overall find Court of Dragons?
Yeah, I think it was Instagram. I was actually just scrolling through Instagram one day, and I saw the ad, and it was like from the creators of Rise of Kingdoms, and
Hmm.
I really enjoyed Rise of Kingdoms, but the two things that really bugged me about Rise of Kingdoms was how much farming you had to do without fighting. Like I was just felt like I was farming forever just to fight, and
Hmm.
then the fact like because you had to farm forever, like early game when we were fighting over our like first kingdom, like you had to pay just to fight, and that kind of bugged me. I'm like, so every time I want to step on the battlefield and enjoy the game, I have to continuously dump money into it. And
Yeah.
so what kind of drew? So I tried out Call of Dragons, and that was the first thing that drew it to me is when I opened it up and they had the free healing and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh, this game's a lot cooler. Like I can invest a lot of money into it, but I also don't have to just to fight, and so that was a really cool part of it.
Hmm.
Now I kind of got baited because I spent a lot more money than I ever planned to, but that was the main driving factor that got me into the game because I just thought it was really stupid. As a low level player in Rock, when I finally did start spending the money, and I was like, oh, I'd have to keep spending more and more just to fight on the battlefield, which isn't progressing my city any, right?
Yeah, it's Rise of Kings is crazy how much you need to spend compared to Cold Ranked, but I think the point that you spend more, I think many did. At least I did it also. Um so yeah, okay. So we know how you find out about Cold Dragons and how you started. But I mean, leading an alliance or overall a server is not easy, right? And many people are scared of this because it's a lot of work, a lot of time you need to put in. So let us know, why do you exactly started EIS?
Well, honestly, I didn't start EIS. I just entered the game and I joined a team that was in my region and just started playing.
Mm,
That team was I couldn't even contact any of the R4s or R5s. We were just in chat all day trying to contact any of them. Never got any reply. So me and some of the other players that I was talking to in the chat, I just convinced them, hey, let's just go join this other team in this other region. We can't contact any R4s here and stuff, and so we dipped and head out to the other region. I got to that other team. It was like ranked 15th team in the server or whatever, and we started joining in. And they had a couple of quote unquote whales. You know, they were 1 million power on day 2 or whatever. And so
mm,
we got in there. I was like, this looks like a good place to settle down. It looks like it can grow. And so I joined that team quickly just from how I play and how active I am. Like I got promoted to R4 pretty quickly from there.
yeah.
I was working with the leader. The leader was trying to set up diplomacy and do other things, and he quit 2 days later. Um, he passed the leader to some random guy who was the sub team's leader at the time, and our
Mm,
team wasn't very happy about it. So we decided to have a vote on who leader would be, and they voted me into leader, and that's how EIS started. Our name was like XD or something weird like that. It was some name no one would ever recognize, and so we didn't like the name, and so we decided we'd vote on a new name. Funny enough, we actually voted on Laughing Coffins. It wasn't even EIS. The Laughing Coffins won the vote. But EIS came in second, and all the versions of Laughing Coffin were taken that looked any good, so we just went ahead and went with Eminence and Shadows.
Okay, interesting. Um, so yeah, thanks for answering these questions about yourself. Let's get into the next part of the interview. And that would be two questions to COD directly. And the first one I have here is pretty common. What do you like and dislike about Call of Dragons?
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I think, again, like I said, what brought me into the game, one of the main things I liked about Call of Dragons was the free healing in the game.
Mm,
I thought it would make for more war because I felt like war was lacking in Rise of Kingdoms because of the fact you needed resources, you needed to spend money just to keep fighting. And so I
mm,
really liked the aspect of the fact that anyone could keep fighting, even the free to play, even the larger whales, as long as they healed up. Obviously, the larger whales can still heal more. They're obviously still stronger, but none of that stuff bugged me. It was more so the fact that just to simply walk on the field and fight at all, you had to have all these resources ahead of time. That preparation phase is kind of what turned me off to Rise of Kingdoms, and so I think that all the things I hated about Rise of Kingdoms, I liked the rest of the stuff, like the combat, the open field stuff,
mm,
and so that's just what COD is, right? And I really enjoyed COD when I got in. Over time, that's what started me in the game, right? The behemoths were fun, like leading that. And over time, now it's probably the community that keeps me in the game. You know, my team. I have a lot of people in the team I enjoy playing with. That's what makes it fun because there's the game's actually gotten less fun with some of the changes that have come out and how they're
mm,
pushing, resource healing, and they're changing it to
mm.
home kingdoms, and they're talking about having off seasons. None of that stuff I'm really a fan of. But what's going to keep me in the game is basically my friends and the community I play with, like the people I've met along the way.
Mm.
A lot of my R4s, a lot of R3s, and even some of the troublemakers on our team that cause trouble sometimes. They're still part of the family, and I enjoy logging in and criticizing them sometimes. But it's just the overall environment and the overall PvP gameplay is fun. I enjoy the wars. I enjoy the strategy. I enjoy the ranged units. I don't like Archer ranged because I think that kind of ruins a lot of the identity in the game. You know, archers used to be highest DPS but not longest
Mm,
range, so you had to get in range and you got rewarded
yeah,
if you did. And now it's kind of the fact, well, they're highest DPS and longest range, so best of both worlds. It's just meta to run that. Um,
yeah.
so that change I didn't like as much either, but it's not the end of the world. The PvP is still fun. I really like the strategy and of planning and outsmarting your opponents, and that's probably what keeps me in the game the most.
You mentioned, real quick side question here. You mentioned about the home kingdoms and that you don't like all of this stuff about um why exactly? Because I think you talked also about the fact of the community aspect and that this is what holds you into the game. Um,
Hmm.
I think the home kingdom and the changes with the king system and stuff like that, that they're giving us basically now an server identity instead of alliance identity.
Hmm.
Isn't that good for the community aspect?
Um, no, I mean my community's stuck on my server anyway. I don't think that changes anything to do with the community. Now, if they add space with home kingdoms, it'll make more of a community. So if they add space, I like that. I think there needs to be more space in servers. I think
Yeah.
typically each server should have like 2 full teams they can fill up at least. I think that would be really good for the game. Some will probably have more if you're not a super big team, which is fine, I think too. I think the main thing I liked about Home Kingdom were I like the war bands. I think it's good to have more unions because everyone's making the allies anyway. You should just be able to union them all. Um,
Mm,
I like the king title. It's dumb that you can just like have people send farmers to grief your server or whatever. You should be able to manage who can come in and out of your server, things like that. But I think I don't like the off seasons, like where you're gonna have to farm in between seasons. I don't like the idea of just being able just sitting in your home kingdom for weeks. I don't like the idea of I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I know the main thing was that I don't like the farming aspect, and I don't like the migration. Right? I think it's good for people to be able to move teams. Like if someone
mm,
doesn't want to be in EIS, they should just be able to go join a team they enjoy. And just like if someone wants to come to EIS, I think they should be able to go join a team they enjoy. I don't think you should ever force people to stay in your server just because it's expensive to leave. Like if people are happy there, they'll stay. If they aren't, they'll leave. And like that's part of the leadership and the community you built to keep people there. So I don't think the whole aspect of forcing people to stay because it's expensive to move is a good thing. I think the flow of people moving where they want to go is healthy for the game and keeps players enjoying and playing the game.
About the point of that they should increase the server capacity, I saw a screenshot where it got said by them that they will increase the server capacity by 25%. So at least every server should cover minimum of 10 billion power. Like a 10 billion power line should be covered in every server. And I also heard that I think it's got also said that they will increase the server capacity from time to time. I understand the point right now that they're saying, oh yeah, we don't want that servers getting massive stacked, right? Like we're having already a 7 billion power team,
Well,
and
yeah.
right, it's like crazy. So
I think they're already stacked. Well, that change they added last season, adding all that space randomly, and we all know why they added the space. It wasn't
yeah.
planned. They added the space because of all the complaints when the big teams tried to merge and it failed. They couldn't fit, and so they added these space for these teams that already had these massive mergers planned. And it helped them a lot for sure. They got super big, and it allowed us to bring people we wouldn't have been able to fit otherwise. But
Yeah.
I think it was a little disingenuous how they didn't warn people ahead of time. They just and it mid migration they just rolled it back and then added space, right? That's also because people cheated the system. They had to roll it back. But I think just making an update where they tried to let more and more people in the server with no forewarning and letting anyone plan ahead of time is bad. Like I think we might have been able to talk to BXS and work something out, and we might have combined our teams maybe, who knows, but we never got the chance because we didn't plan that ahead of time because we're like there wasn't going to be space in our server. But then they randomly added the space and we weren't going to do something last second. And we did get some new friends to join us and stuff, so that was cool. But obviously some teams definitely benefited way more than other teams from it.
Yeah. All right, thanks for answering that. The second question I have, what do you wish to see from the devs in the future updates? Like, do you have something clearly on your mind what you want to see in the game?
I think if they I don't have anything specifically, but I think they need to add more daily events or more things to do in the game that aren't, and maybe even alliance-based events where you have to work with your team to beat it. Like not a Darkling Fort where one person has to join your rally. You could solo anyway, but maybe something spawns that you have to go deal with, like a Darkling Caravan. Something entertaining that makes people get on the game. Because if there's no war, no one has any reason to log in anymore. It's just boring. You're just clearing CP. Like the beginning of this season was dead. No one wanted to play. It was just boring. There's absolutely nothing to do. There's just not enough things to keep you involved in the game besides logging on, clearing your CP, and not needing to be on for another 8 hours.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's one of the main things I would like them to bring. I would also an advocate for free healing. Go ahead and increase that. More fighting's good. So yeah, as long as they're not like forcing people to resource heal and like turning it into rock where you have to resource heal to fight, I'm totally fine with it because that'll just kill their game, right? God's a player base, so I don't want the game to die. I've spent plenty of money in it and invested, and I have friends here. I don't want them to quit either. So I think it's just good for the game to remain their identity and why they brought people to the game. They were even advertising free healing as the reason people should come play Call of Dragons. Their advertisements were, oh, you can heal troops for free. Why would you use resources to do that if you can get them for free? And so that was their whole like pitching point, and they're trying to swing it back and more to resource healing because it makes them more money, which obviously, of course. But over time, that's going to make more and more people quit the game who already would have stayed in Rock if they didn't mind that as much.
Yeah, I get that point. Then a quick side question. The relationship between EIS and myself, a lot of people who were coming from my old channel know that I started in 69 and know that EIS started in 68. So we have already met in season 1 plus, it was, right? So we know each other already a long time. That's pretty interesting about the thing that we were enemies in season 1+. I think we fought the whole season, right? If I remember correctly, we fought the whole season against each other. And I think you asked me back there already that I should join you, and I said no. I'm gonna stay in 69.
Yeah.
Back now, I was like, oh shit, I should have joined. Um, but there was a point for me that I built it up 69. You probably have the same thing. You don't just want to leave your team, which you have built it up, and I saw still hope for 69, but yeah, then the West was shit in season 2, and then out of nothing, we made it again each other in season
Yeah.
2+. It was called right now. It's called season B1, I think it's now called. And then I joined you. And since then I'm there with you, and I really enjoy it here. That's what I really wanted to mention. I really enjoy it in being in the EIS and part of a team and fight with you guys. Um, but I already told you also, and I will tell everyone here also, when I get the opportunity, I will unfortunately gonna migrate to 293 since that's my own server.
Mhm.
But it's interesting, that's a part of a game, right? What you said also with community, right? Like we started to be enemies, and a bunch of 69 joined you, like Humble. I saw him also in the chat. Um, a bunch from 69 joined you guys then in season 1+, and then 2 seasons later we meet again each other, and we were like joining you. So that's
Yeah.
exactly the part of the game, right? The community is back, that your enemies can turn into your friends and your friends can turn into your enemies. That's the part which I really enjoy. And yeah,
Yeah,
you
so I
mentioned that
think
also.
that actually kind of makes me think of a point to backtrack on. Is that's another one of the things I didn't like how they added to Home Kingdoms. Because it was fun, right? Loading in every season. I mean, quote unquote, restarting your team. You still remade your teams, but you had to make multiple teams. It wasn't even a full team. So basically, you got to start from scratch. And with EIS's system, that worked really well. How you always had to earn your place every season, and we don't accept
Yeah.
dead weight. So it was easy to move people up the ladder in the chain and get them into EIS over time. LSK obviously made it with us over the years, but TLR and EIA and some of the other teams we had didn't make it because there wasn't space over time. But
Yeah.
that ladder climb was a really fun part of the game, and like you said, making enemies and friends in the new season, and loading in like that and planning out the season in front of hand and picking your region and deciding how you're going to build, where your enemy's going to start, is there going to be a zone 1 war, planning all that thing ahead of time. The strategy's fun. But I know now they're not letting you pick a starting region. You kind of just have to load in wherever they give you. And again, so I guess this goes back to the TFS map, right? They complained how the map was unbalanced, how the choke point was broken, and all that kind of stuff. But people say they can't really complain because they planned their whole season, right? If they think the left side was broken, why wouldn't you just go start on the left side and fight over the left side so you don't get put in that position? If it's that busted, you had the whole map and you could plan it. But in a situation where they put you in wherever you go, then the complaint's valid because you don't get to choose what side you're on. If they imbalance a map like that, you didn't get to plan your whole season. You're stuck where you are, and you just have to do the best with what you have. So in that situation, then I would agree with TFS. That's bullshit. But if you get to plan your whole season, I think that's part of the fun of it, right? The strategy, the planning, the mistakes, and the successes you have are part of the fun. And I think that takes part of it out of the game.
Yeah, I definitely like that's over the season. I agree with the point, right? Like over the last scenes which we were having, you could have zone 1 where you could get people together, which were, I don't know, out of a team, having no team, and stuff like that. But I also like the aspect of you don't know where you go, right? Like you need to live with the situation, and based on that, you need to do a strategy. Sure, that kills the aspect of getting new people at the beginning of a season who would be dedicated to fight for you. But, well, we will see how it will work out when the upgrade hopefully comes out on Monday.
I think this change was implemented to kind of stop the rise of mercenary teams, because that's become a big thing the past couple of seasons. All these small teams of 20 T5 players just going server to server and picking a random team to join because it messes up the matchmaking a little bit. But
Mm.
in the end, I don't have a massive problem with that. Like it's part of the game to me. I enjoy loading into a new season, just getting put with people and planning out and figuring out the whole season. That's the fun part to me, right? So all of that is kind of wild to me. So I don't really care about the mercenaries, but I just think it's really dumb that you don't get to pick where you start, especially if they don't balance the maps properly.
Yeah, what? Why is that not? Hold on, guys. There's a technical issue. The next. Let me figure. All right. Now I want to ask some questions about EIS then. So I mentioned already, you guys are coming from 68. But when did EIS exactly got formed? Like, was it pretty close at the end of season 1, or was it
Oh,
already like at the
okay.
start of
Yeah.
season 1?
So early season 1 is when it happened. So basically, like a week into the server, I think it was day 3 or 4 when I took over EIS, and like a day after I'd been there, like we changed the name to EIS instead of XD or whatever it was. Over time, we just built it a lot of ways. Garfield, one of the Thai players that's in my team, he was in our allies team called Fire, and so
Yeah.
they didn't join us till way later in the season. They actually, it was us, Fire, and LVNT, and we teamed up to take on the #1 team in the game. Because, like I said, we were the rank 15 team when I took over, right?
Mm.
Heading into Zone 2, we devised a plan to go cut off one of their allies because they started allying a bunch of people in the server when they saw like this big 3 had popped up. And so we had cut them off. We destroyed them, right? And a lot of them ended up joining us in LVNT. And so we got stronger from that as well. We ended up being the rank 1 team in the server before we ended up going in to fight the rank 1 team server. We were rank 2 for a while right behind them. So we were pretty even, and then we had allies on top of that. We went in, we fought them and their allies, we won. Their whole team, like some of them ended up joining us, but a lot of them got absorbed by our allies. And like LVNT, Fire, like in that BP team we beat, all combined into one big team called Doom. They
Yeah.
had all the whales in their server. Like we only had 2 T5s in the whole entire server, and they had both of them. And then they had the 2 guys who were closest to T5. And then my team had like 10 players who were in the mid tier, right? They had the 30 mil players, the 40 mil players, and people who were kind of close but not there yet. And so we just had like a better overall balance, and they had a lot of whales, and our activity was better. Over the season, we were all friends and stuff. We just we were allies the whole way, right? So once it came to the final zone, we were having. It's kind of funny. EIS almost like disbanded because I demand a lot from our players, and I don't like mediocrity. And we had that on the bear because probably a lot of people didn't have archers because we were such a mage focused team and we couldn't beat that stupid dire bear. And so we were getting frustrated. We couldn't get people to
Yeah.
gather to fill the boss. Like we were like, fill the boss, dude. Like why can't we get 40 people? And so it got frustrating. We had a mock war with them. I think the time zone kind of messed with us a bit. We lost. It was a close one though, but we did lose to them, and we were upset with our activity. So between that and the bear, we sent out a mail to our team. We're like, hey guys, we talked to Doom, our ally. We're going to merge into Doom, and we're going to join this team because we're just not happy with the activity here, and you guys don't seem to really be bought in. And so we're going to give it one last chance, and if you guys still want EIS to exist as an alliance, then show up this weekend to our mock war with Doom, and we'll stay. If we win it, we'll stay as a team. And we had, probably for the first time, we had 110 players online. That was the highest we had ever. It was like, before that, it might have been 60 at one time, right? And so everyone came out and showed they really wanted to be in EIS. Well, Doom didn't have attendance, and they were struggling with their bosses too. Like Magma, they couldn't get enough people together. And so then they became the issue. Once we told them, well, we weren't going to merge into them because our players kind of showed us they really wanted to keep the team around, and they came out and showed up. They actually decided to then merge into us, and that's what made EIS first make the top 25 list. I think we were like 23rd or something. And then School Bus, one of the guys from your server had come over and started shit talking in World Chat and saying, if you want to come join a real server, come join 69 next season and yada yada. And so then like 10 plus of our players decided to push T5 after that, and then we went into the season with you and we started fighting you guys, and that was a fun one. And the end of that season, between 69 joining, the Whales from 70, the Whales from EXG and 67, when everyone ended up joining EIS, that's what pushed us into a top 5 team from that point on. And then that's what really got us our start. You know, the activity just attracts people. Being active, being not having dead weight, I think is the main thing, because I know you guys in 69 saw like you had so many people not helping, and that's just a driving factor to be aggravating, right? And so when like people just don't like dead weight, most of the people we recruit when they get here, they say they love it because they know even the people at the bottom have to hold their weight or they're removed. Like no one likes having dead weight that they have to carry in their team, and so that was just a big driving factor for what got EIS going, I think.
Basically, if you say it like, I just want to mention, I didn't know what, or like, I just knew too late what School Bus did. But that's exactly also what happened to us. Like, if people start shit talking, it just push people who didn't plan yet to push T5 to do it. You know, the exactly same thing happened to 93. Like, we got shit on in Zone 1 war. Like, really hard. Like, we just have hit our second T5 player. And they were having already 4 T5 players. And they just 5 matched us. Like, all our T4 just died. And then, like, we admitted, okay, guys, we lost the war. We're gonna go to our zone. And they, all of them started trash talking. And what happened, we pushed in like 4 weeks, 1.2 billion power. And we got like into zone 4, I think we got then like 10 T5 players. So like it's
trash
crazy.
Talking. Yeah, trash talking early game is even more risky. People are trying to figure out if they like the game, if they want to spend money on the game. You don't know what person on their team's got 100K just sitting in the bank waiting to spend. Like you piss them off enough, you might find out. But so that early in the game, you can talk smack, but it might come back to bite you. You get people motivated for sure.
Thank you, School Bus, by the way.
Yes, thank you, School Bus. That helped us get going. That was some good motivation. That's what made me personally push for T5. I was just on the verge, and I was like, okay, I'm good here. And then he just started talking shit, and you guys were a bigger team at the time and had more T5 players, and so Praise was our biggest player by far, and she was the powerhouse over here. But it just made everyone else in our team push for T5s, you know. And it's just that's what really got us going.
I remember I did like this stat live stream where you guys joined then and started like talking about that. It was for sure a funny scene, and I think I still would say that this season 1 plus is personally for me a top 3 and it probably will ever be, because just the history from that season, over things what happened, and it was just enjoyable this season. A lot of trash talking was going on both sides. That you need to mention. It was not like that. It was just EIS and School Bus trash talking. It was really on both sides.
After the season got going, I think the driving factor for School Bus was he came to our server before we even matched and was just like spam recruiting, come join 69, a real server, and then we finally matched, and then we're like, okay, it's game on, you know. That's and then we were ready to shit talk you guys, you know. We were all fired up, so that was the driving factor. But yeah, that was a really fun season. A lot of banter, a lot of competitive drive, and non-stop fighting the whole season. That was a good season.
Yeah,
season 1 plus was probably the best season by far.
And I remember I was streaming, and you guys came into the stream, and were like, I need to try to be neutral and not like start trash talking as well. I just wanted to, you know, I was a really small streamer back then. Like I was having 200 subs or something. No, not 200 subs, but compared to Call of Dragons, I was like having a small viewership. So I was like, all right, I don't want to like, you know, lose them by trash talk and stuff like that. So I was, I gonna stay neutral here and not gonna trash talk. And we had some funny moments. We had some funny moments.
Yeah, we did. Your streams were fun. We enjoyed tuning in and getting spy info from you, and then also like getting some of the laughs in from the karaoke and the Viking helmet, and then you opening was it Anthony's picture on stream with the girl, the black guy standing around the couch with the white girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
that
that was
was
all those moments were great. I didn't know you were gonna open that on stream. That had us. We were dying laughing in our chat when we were watching it. But yeah, those were all great times, you know. So those are hard memories to replace.
yeah. So basically, I would say that's how we can say the current EIS team got formed, like with the mergers, what happened in season one, and then season one plus the trash talking, which pushed you guys into pushing more T5.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um, Now we're coming to a question which might be like for many people 50-50, but in my opinion, after last season, where TFS lost basically because they didn't hold the dragon, as well as EXG, and EIS is now the last undefeated team, who having right now this sixth season, I think we are already. Um, so let us know what exactly makes EIS so successful as it is right now and winning basically every season until now.
Yeah, I think it starts at the leadership level. You know, having leadership that's driving your players to want to win and to be active and to plan your strategy and putting in the
Mm,
hours for war comms. That's a lot of it. So big shout out to my R4s and EIS for helping me out and helping with all that stuff, especially the war comms. And you know, I can stay up tons of hours. I pulled a 24-hour shift this season. That's not a problem, but you know, even I need to take a 3-hour nap now and then, you know, so someone's got to take over for those 3 hours. So and this season it's been really nice having someone else playing the building, and don't need to worry about it. And so the R4s have just been a great help with that. But the main thing, the reason EIS is successful, it starts with the leadership, but the main reason EIS is successful is every single member carries their weight, right? That's the
yeah.
important thing. That's what we tried to drive since season one. That's what kept us going all the way. If you're not carrying your weight, you'll get kicked, right? We love you. You're part of our team. But in the end of the day, like if you're consistently not getting merits, fighting in the war, holding your weight, you're going to get kicked because no one wants to play with dead weight.
Yeah.
And so I think just moving on from those players that hold you back and bringing in new active players that help contribute is just a massive part of it. You just got to hold everyone accountable so every single member is holding their weight. I mean, at the bottom end of the T4s, those guys are still useful when they show up on the battlefield. If they can be active and they're getting the gold chest from the top spenders, they grow pretty quick, right? So it's just
Yeah.
the activity and just being a part of the team and always being there is what makes it so successful.
I see. I see. Guys, I saw it sometimes in the chat already. There will be later viewers Q&A, so later you can ask by yourself some questions, and I will point them out then. I don't have much more questions going on, so maybe like 10-15 minutes more. So let's come to the next question. Since I heard that now multiple times, that EIS is the most toxic alliance in the game. Here we need to come to the point that all teams have people in their team who trash talking, right? It's not like that EIS is the only one who trash talk. It's on every side. We did it back in 69. I tried to have it really low in 293, you know, not being toxic at all and no trash talking or like hard trash talking. But being called to be the most toxic alliance in the game. What is your opinion to that?
Yeah, so I guess my bare minimum honest opinion, my honest feedback is we are toxic, except
Mm,
it's not what you think. I think almost every team's toxic. So that's the difference is I
mm,
don't think our team's any more innocent than anyone else. You have those players in your team that are going to talk the most. I mean, our fours are sleeping there. Some players go wild in world chat and get upset about things, and we have a couple of members in particular who go wild. One of them loves cap locks. So
yeah.
those definitely stand out. I don't think we're any more toxic than TFS. I think TFS is more toxic than us. I don't think we're any more toxic than any team we've played. I think just when you win and the other team loses, it looks like you're more toxic because they don't have as many stuff to say back to you because you were the
Mm,
winning team. What are they going to say? Oh, you lost. Fuck you. You know, you seem more toxic and you have more hard feelings when you lost. Um, rather than that. But again, every single team has toxic players. Like you'll see toxic TFS players in the Discord chat. You'll see toxic role players in the Discord chat. You'll see toxic EIS players in the Discord chat. Like it's just how it is. It's the small minority of the teams that are doing most of the trash talking. So
Yeah. That's the problem, right? Like these few people who acting like this, making look like that the team is like that. And that's what I said. Like I think toxicity is not good at all. Trash talking, sure, can be funny, can be making people push, like we already mentioned, right? Trash talking pushed you guys and my guys in 293 to get T5 done, but being toxic and like attack person and stuff like that, that's something that should be out of the game completely, in my opinion.
yeah, the
Trash talking, sure.
yeah, personal shit talk's weird to me. I don't like people start talking about people's real lives and stuff, and they don't even know their real lives. I'm like, how's this even an insult? You don't even actually know anything about this person. So that's all weird to me. But banter in the game is just fun in general. So having a little bit of shit talk is fun and well. But there's definitely a threshold of too much or when you're annoying. You know, there's a difference. But like again, that's all part of the game. You know, you make enemies, you get a driving factor. You're like, fuck this guy, I want to beat this guy, and it makes the game fun. But like I said, I don't think I think every team's toxic. It's just there's the extremes. I know I'm not calling out anyone by name on the stream, but we have a couple members in particular that really like to get going and say some wild stuff. But every team has those. I can name some from other teams too, and I'm not going to do that either.
Yeah. All right. Let's come to the next question. How do you think about the past season from EIS? Is there something you have specifically in your mind what happened, or something to say about your past seasons?
Sorry, can you ask that again? What was that?
Like the past seasons from EIS, like we talked already about season 1 plus and season 1. What about season 2, season 2 plus, and stuff like that?
Season 2 was probably the most disappointing season we've played in the game. We went from season 1 plus to having the most fun season we have ever played, just constant war, and we loaded into season 2. All the enemy teams were weaker than us. We had just become a top 5 team. I think at the time they had matched the servers based on their pre-rankings before, because they, you know, everyone had moved servers, but I think they had taken the power before everyone had migrated. And so we became a lot bigger server, and a lot of our enemy servers had lost people because they all lost their seasons. We went into season 2 and 1v5 the whole server. We played a team called NXS. They were the biggest one besides us. They were a couple billion power below us. They ended up being really big farmers, which is unfortunate. They wanted to ally us and 2v kill the whole server with just us two as allies. That kind of reminds me of what like NA or what TA and NK did, right? They allied and the two other teams stood no chance at all. So we figured our best bet was just to fight the whole server, and that was our only chance to lose, and it would be fun. So we did it. We didn't even struggle. It was like it was such a easy fight, and we pushed and took all magmas from every single zone with all our sub teams. I mean, we were long marching into side zones. Like, because obviously EIS could only had enough resources to build one way, so we built into NXS zone and took it, and we were long marching into the other zones with like Myth and 50W and just taking everything. So we were just all over the map, and that was honestly the most boring season and one of the highest merits we've ever had. But they basically came to us with an ultimatum at the beginning of the season and said, ally us or we make you farm the whole season. So that was like the weirdest ultimatum I'd ever heard. It pissed me off, honestly. I'm like, okay, like you could make us farm the whole season. Go for it. We'll just take Dragon. And so we decided to fight the whole server, and they made us farm the whole season until the final zone. Then they said we were going to run out of stamina, and they'd all 5 beat us in the final zone, and that didn't happen. So that season was very disappointing. We did recruit some really good players from that season as well. Some of their top fighters, they didn't like the dead weight in their teams, and they came. That's the common occurrence we see. And then season 2 plus was, again, it was another bad map again, just like season 2. So that made it kind of boring. But the zone 1 fight we had against VVV and Tribe was extremely fun. It was a great fight. There was just they had both their teams there. EIS had loaded in. We sent LSK to a different region. So we 1v2'd their teams in the first zone. That was one of the bigger fights we had fought on the battlefield. EIS had 188 online, so that was the first time we'd ever done that. I was pumped. And we just fought to the death for 3 hours, and we ended up winning that, and they moved. We ended up having an ally in OG who had Crazy Bob in their group. Crazy Bob in their group got mad at them really early on and moved over to our side. But there was an issue with the alliance cap because we were 215 at the time, but you couldn't cross 200.
Yeah.
So Crazy Bob couldn't enter our team, and there wasn't enough resurgence days for him to resurgence back to OG or anyone else, which he was trying to join SK, I guess, because he didn't want to go back to OG. And so he got kind of stuck into our region in a farm team. So his little team of his T5 group just ended up joining our farmer team and was fighting from there the whole season. But so we had OG as allies. They were very good in the war. They helped a lot. OG had like their leadership leave, Bob's group leave, and they went through a lot of changes. And so we saw their activity dying out through the season, and we were like, oh, okay, we're going to have to fight SK and VVV and Tribe like all alone, right? This is going to be bad. And then came the final zone, and a lot of their whales that were inactive the whole season started fighting, like their Taiwans like Optimus Prime and their big 180 mil players. And OG's core group really helped out. Like they had 30 players who went really hard, right? But they still lacked activity. I think that's just because their leader had left the game, and that's a big impact on a team. So we did our best, but in the end, we ended up winning. It was like 3 days of nonstop fighting. There was maybe an hour break, and it was just nonstop go, go, go until we finally won. We pushed the hill. We took back the choke that we had lost at the beginning, and we won the season. And that was a really fun season. Our team was full, so we didn't get a lot of recruiting that season, which is fine. We added a few new people, but that was an extremely fun season. And then, as many know, TFS was in the next season, and everyone knows that story. We allied BXS because we went in, and TFS had reached out to me, and they said they wanted to do a 1v1v1, and I was like, okay, that sounds fun, because we wanted to beat TFS one-on-one, because we thought we always could, right? We're like, okay, let's do this. And they were missing like 30 players because they migrated and messed up and couldn't fit their whole server because they had so many whales. And so we're like, okay, there are 30 members down, up 2 bill powers on us. Let's try it. I think we might be able to do it. It'll be fun. Then we found out another T5 mercenary group in the server called Meower went to join TFS. They had like 22 T5 players out of the 30 people filling TFS, and TFS became a team with like 170 plus T5s just in TFS. And then I think they even recruited some more EXG's team to get that up to like 180. And so they were just basically pure T5 monster house with, 300 mil whales, 200 mil whales. So we're like, okay, well, now I don't think we can win the 1v1, even if we had high activity, and we're just going to run out of troops first, right? And so we went out, and BXS was trying to talk to us the whole time, and we went over and talked to BXS, and I guess they had some previous beef with TFS from other seasons, and they wanted to ally up to take them on. And after they took in Meower, we thought that was a great idea. And the way we saw the matchup working with Meower joining them is once we added up the power from us and BXS into EXG and TFS, it was a balanced fight, like in amount of T5s and amount of power. So we're like, okay, this is the most balanced, fun way to probably have the season. And so we allied BXS and did that. And then it became a farming season most that season, but the season was shorter. I don't think it took as long to get in the final zone, maybe a month instead of 2 months. I think in season against SK and BBV, it was almost like a month and a half or 2 months of farming in between the zones. That was terrible, by the way. And the behemoths were super hard, and no one wanted to come to the behemoths. So the middle of that season sucked, but the end war and the beginning was fun. In the TFS season, it was fun at the end. The beginning wasn't as bad because we didn't have to wait as long as the previous season. There was a lot of hype there from the TFS. There's a lot of shit talking going on by both teams, so there was a bunch of entertaining stuff happening all over the place to keep you somewhat entertained. And so that wasn't as bad. And so once we got into the final zone, we had that big old fight. Almost everyone knows about it. The choke battle against TFS, and us and BXS came out strong. BXS was a great ally. They have fantastic builders. They like I always plan out like buildings of like, hey, we should go here, we should go to this spot, we should do this. But they were always like, here's the exact coordinates, here's the amount of resources you're gonna get from the coordinates, here's the amount of flags from this way. They sent me a 16-page document on each different scenario will go this way, like in the very starting zone. I'm sitting there going, holy shit, man, I can't read all 16 pages of this right off the bat. Like, and if things are gonna change, I'll just adapt to it when it happens. But they were well planned ahead of time, and they had all of it figured out. But that was a great season. BXS was definitely the best ally we've ever had. So it was good to have an ally for a change, because every other season it felt like we were mainly fighting alone. OG, we got a little bit better. Like I said, about 30 players from their team fought really hard. And then Bob's group helped quite a bit. But it was just like Bob's group, those 30 players, and us. And so that was quite an uphill battle. And so having BXS and having a competent, good ally was good to have. But that's basically been our journey so far. And now we're fighting Row and NTS and a bunch of the other teams that got together to fight us. And it should be a fun one.
Someone asked about exactly the current season, since that person needs to go pretty soon. Basically, that person just want to know, what do you think currently about the season?
About this season?
Yeah, about against well, what is your overall thought? Is that better than any past season, or is that worse, or?
I wouldn't say it's better or worse than any other season. Like, I think, again, my peak fun was in season 1+, and my worst fun was in the worst possible season was in season 2. I would say it's average. It's definitely not bad though. The fights have been fun. There was a push at the beginning when they came up to our choke point in zone 2, and there we pushed out of the choke, and it was like a massive 10-minute fight. It was just a big scrap back and forth, and that was fun. Like, at first I was like, are we winning this push? Because we were all in a big ball, so I couldn't really tell how many people we had out there. And they had a spread, so it looked like they had more. And then our ball just never died. And I'm sitting there going like, okay, like, are we losing? Are we winning? And we ended up pushing out eventually, but that was it was a great fight. Like, it was just 10 minutes of just scrapping in this choke point. So that was a really fun moment of it for sure.
All right. Thanks for answering this question. Let's come to the next part. It's, by the way, the last part, guys. Okay, after that you can ask questions, and that is so. Who was your strongest enemy or most tough season, if you rethink about all seasons or the current one? Like, what would you say was not about the length of the fighting, but overall, who was basically the hardest one to fight against?
So who was which was the hardest fight, or which was the strongest team?
I think you can answering both. Like, what was the
okay?
Yeah.
Well, the strongest team we ever fought was clearly TFS. I mean, 180 members is a ton of whales. Like, they clearly were the strongest team we ever faced. They were the highest power, 17 billion. The hardest season we ever fought was the SK and VVV one. We were down to the wire. We used all our elixirs. Like, TFS season, we had millions and millions and millions of elixirs left over. Like, not everyone had used their elixirs. Like, people didn't resource heal that much. Like, we were doing fine on healing. Like, the season against SK and VVV, we were down to the wire. We had used everything. We had pushed up a choke, taken the ground. And it was also the season without long-ranged warfare, which was probably more fun for me as well. But that was definitely the hardest fight we had. They had a lot of infantry. SK was just coming in with infantry. And VVV helped cover SK's off time, but both teams had like VVV was not very active. They had a ton of dead weight, but they had a lot of 24-hour activity. Their core group played a lot, like their core players. Their core group was good. And SK was opposite, where they had a super heavy off time, But when they got on and they're on time, they had like 150, 160 online, and they went really hard. VVV never had 160 online, but they always were there at any point in the fight. So they kind of complemented each other in that regard. And we were worried if OG would be any active, and in the end we ended up winning. So it was a good hard fought battle, but that was probably the hardest win we ever had.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Like the SK VVV one was very, very hard. Also, the point of that they had a really good choke point situation, right? We were needed to go up the ramp. Exactly what TFS basically faced in against us last season, where they needed to go through choke point for the dragon. And they, well, you can say now if that choke point was really that hard to break, or because at the end you showed it by fighting against SK and VVV that it is possible, for any team to do so, especially since they in the 2 versus 2 situation with SK and VVV versus EIS and OG, they outnumbered you by power. So where they had just more to fight with, just more troops. OG were, I think, around 10 billion, I think a little bit under 10 billion. So yeah, I remember back I was in LSK there this season, and it was really enjoyable to watch your side, but also to fight on the other side. Now let's come to the next question, which is, who do you wish to face in the future season from the season 6 alliances / servers?
It's a good question. I know heading into this season, I wanted to fight, NA, or who was I looking for to fight? I was looking to fight NA, or at the time I was like Nor would be fun, but we would definitely need an ally to fight Nor. They got way too big. DS would have been fun to fight. BDO, I was really wanting to fight BDO. Any of those teams we would have really enjoyed to fight. Nor we, like, again, just with TFS, we would have needed an ally for. Just they got way too much power in their server for many of anyone to compete with them. So but if the allies were right and the situation was right, it would have been definitely be fun to fight them. It looks like they've had high activity over there, and the war could have been pretty fun as well. But we were looking to fight any of those teams, so I would say any of those teams in the future would also be fun to fight. So yeah, I would like to match BDO, just simply because in season 32, like when they were in server 32, everyone knew who they were. Everyone's like, oh, we're never beating this server. And granted, their server did break up because it was like SK, NK, and BDO. And so once they broke up, we're like, oh, okay, like we have a chance now. Maybe like we can build a team that can fight them. And so it was always like a goal. It would just like be nostalgic to say like, oh, we fought against like BDO, and if we could beat them, that would have been like a cool tale to be like, oh, we beat the team that we thought was unbeatable in season 1. That would have been a cool thing to do. But yeah, BDO's like around our power and everything, and they had a really high activity when you watch them fight Misfit and everything. So I think it'd be a really fun season.
Yeah, BDO looking really strong over there in their season. So fighting against them would be very interesting. Actually, against any top team. Since I think all of the top teams currently, which are in season 6, they fighting. Like, it doesn't look like to me that any of the really top teams, like top 5, top 10 teams, have any high death rates in their teams. So I think any fighting.
No, not at this point. No.
Yeah. So I think we should have until season migration, or probably season migration should not destroy that, but until global migration, we should have always every season in EIS having a fun season against one of the top teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope so. I think they're going to add more. Maybe after Home Kingdoms, they'll add more teams to our pool as well, because there's a couple more matchups we can still have that we haven't faced yet, but going to run out soon. People are double matching. I mean, I think NTS and Row have been in the same for like 3-4 seasons in a row. So they're running out of people to match up with, apparently. So I'll be happy to add some of the other teams. I've talked to some of the other teams, like IL, I think, and EDS, and so like those teams, they would be fun to fight as well. They're up and coming, so it'd be cool to add them to the pool and get more interesting matchups going on as well. Give them a chance
Mhm.
to come compete.
Yeah, sounds good. Um, Now we know that there are a lot of newcomers, like new alliances coming up. Did you have watched any of these, like, or do you have any one of the newcomers on your mind which you would say, okay, this server or this team looks very strong already compared to, if we looking back on our season, at that point or playtime, is there anyone do you have on your mind which you would love to fight in future?
Of newcomers.
Yeah.
Like what's a definition of a newcomer? Is it just someone that's not in our
Um,
current season, or is it like
I would say maybe like season two, their second season, third season. Like I would say these are the newcomers.
okay? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too many of the teams outside of the people in our season. You know, NK, TFS, like all the ones at the top of the charts, and then I know of EDS and IL and BTR, and outside of those, I don't really know any other teams out there.
Hmm. All right. Um. Okay. Polska wants to say that Dark, you're the best leader and do a very good job always.
Who said that?
Polska.
Ah, I love Polska, bro. He's been there. Well, he's been there since season 1, and then he joined 69 in season 1 plus, and then he regretted it and came back. But you know, he's made up for it over the seasons. So
Uh. All right. So that were my part. Like I know it were a lot of questions. Like basically already my part was 1 hour of a stream. Now we coming to the viewers question. I already saw a bunch of viewers questions in the chat. So guys, now it's the time for you to ask in the chat what questions do you have? Like are there any questions you want him to answer?
Momoy, I'm out of breath because I was playing with my brother's dogs. Unfortunately,
Where is Dark from and how old is he?
I am from Indiana, and I am 28 years old. Indiana, there's nothing to do. That's why I can spend so much time on COD.
Yeah, sometimes I'm wondering how can you spend so much time on the game?
Well, working from home definitely helps with that. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, there's
I guess
nothing
so.
going on in Indiana at all. So
Dark Bears R5 and CD from Humble.
wait, what Humble say?
Dark Bears R5 and CD.
Oh, I don't hear a question in that.
Oh, just mention. Humble, what
Okay,
about me,
thanks.
huh? You betrayer. Oh, good. uh,
I'm gonna let the world know, Beast. Sorry, bud.
Absolute single reason that EIS is successful is Dark. You must have consistency with leadership, and that means being present every day. He's always on and always pinging Discord. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh yeah, I'm always pinging Discord. That's for sure. I will let you know exactly what the situation in game is if you're looking.
Sorry, what kind of situation? Or my
For what?
huh? No, never mind. I probably misunderstood something. Does
Okay.
EIS have dead weight at this current point?
EIS obviously, as any team, has dead weight to a minimum extent every season, because every season people start getting real life stuff or slacking off or not enjoying the game as much anymore, and they just don't put in the time. I know we had three T5 players quit before going into our fight into Zone 2 with Row. I would consider them dead weight. One of them was 100 mil. They just
Oh,
quit
that's hard.
without giving their account away or doing anything with it, and you know, one of them said they were going to take a season off or something, and one of them just didn't say anything and quit, and the other one also didn't say anything and quit. So, I mean, those definitely pop up over the time, but as far as dead weight we're concerned with, absolutely not. Basically, everyone's holding their weight. We have a weekly requirement in EIS to determine who is holding their weight, and if you don't hit it, you get kicked. So that's pretty easy to tell how much weight you have based on how many people were kicking.
That's true. What is a typical turnover over new players from season to season for EIS?
That's a good question. I guess it was varied with the server cap, right? Because at a certain point we went over cap. So to get more players, we had to kick off an exponential amount of extra players to get any new players. And so it became harder to just be like, okay, we need to kick these people who are slacking and get these new people in. Usually it's varied so much. Earlier on, obviously more. I guess last season we didn't have to kick anybody because they added so much space. We did keep some of the dead weight, quote unquote. I'm hoping they change this season and not be dead weight this season. Some of them have. Some of them have come out and played better, so that's good. But we definitely kept people last season we wouldn't have normally kept. The season before that, we kicked off a lot of people from LSK because they just, LSK is typically a not as active team. We took your group from LSK Beast and some of your guys who were exceptional in LSK because there wasn't a lot of space. We took Aqua from VVV. We recruited some new players like that. We got Rudius from OG. We got a OG group over. And so we traded like 14 or 15 T5 players that season and season 2 plus for like 40 or 50 T4 players that got kicked off. And so that wasn't necessarily fun, but I mean, those 40 or 50 players weren't active enough to stay. So getting those 15 T5 players who were active and always fighting was more beneficial for EIS. And then last season, I guess we really didn't have any turnover. We gained people. We didn't lose any. There was some I definitely would have kicked, but we just allowed to stay because we had the space. End of this season, I foresee myself kicking some people as well. So we'll have to see. The average turnover is hard to answer there. I would say at the end of this season, I might expect to kick 10 to 20 people.
Okay. Let's see. A lot of questions. Doug, which is your favorite R4?
Oh boy, Mimo. Mimo's great. Our Thai queen there. She's fun for the group, and everyone knows I love Mimo, so she's my favorite.
Read mine. Yeah, okay, she's straight or she. Doug, if you quit EIS, who do you hand over the team?
Yeah, that's another hard question because it always was Link. Link's gone now. Link had been with me since season 1, actually early zone 1. So he was always going to be the guy I gave it to when I quit. He always led LSK. He always had, like, we had built the team together. He ran this almost the same way I did. If I quit now, I mean, it would probably go to Humble, I'd imagine. Maybe not. I mean, I'd probably discuss with my R4s. It's really hard to say. There's a couple of people I could give it to. Humble's definitely a later addition, but he's definitely contributed to the team enough by now. I think a lot of people would follow Humble, so my best guess is maybe Humble.
Yeah, he's a great leader for sure. He formed a war in season 1, and we were having the same power as we had in season 1. If they would have a little bit better activity back there, I think they could have beaten us, to be honest.
Yeah, every time I try to quit, they make me stay, so I don't really know who I could give leader, because every time I pass it to a leader, they pass it back.
Oh, man. All right,
I know there's people who I would not give R5 to, so. They're not my current R4s, though, but, like Momoy would never get R5. Pumbaa would never get R5. There's certain people out there.
Drama happening. Let's go. Oh, a lot of question marks in the chat from Momoy. Bro, are you quitting? All right, let's go.
Please take Momoy, please.
Let's see. Any questions? Oh yeah, here. Will you get rid of all T4s when open migration comes?
No, we will not be getting rid of T4s. In EIS, we don't care if you're a T5 or a T4. We care about how you contribute to the team, and we
Yeah.
track your merits based on your power. So just because you have 15 million less merits than a T5 180 mil player doesn't necessarily mean you contributed less from your share to the team than that player did. Obviously, that player contributed more than you. Obviously, just like from the fact that they're such a big account. But like as far as what you can contribute, that's what you get. Evaluated for. What you can contribute to the team.
Yeah. We have basically a power mode ratio system in 293, and basically we're using that for the season, and I think we had 10% of your power in merit for the dragon rewards.
Yeah.
And I mean it's very easy, like you don't need to do that much for that, and it's also the most fair system in my opinion when it comes to free to play, low spender, mid spender, and whales. That based on your power, what you have push, you need to get this amount of merit. So if you have 100 million power, you need at least 10% of it would be 10 million, right? So and obviously if you're free to play and you have not yet T5, that's fine. It doesn't mean, like you said, that this person would contribute less. It's just that his stats and he have less troops. So
we have T4 players we love in the team, and EIS wouldn't be the same if they weren't here, and that's because they're so active and they use voice and they do all these things that make them a valuable member. Where there's some T5s that actually they do contribute to the team some, and they're out there fighting, but they never join VC. They don't go the extra mile and do these things. Like they're there, they're part of the team, they're contributing, but they're not part of your core community group, right? They're not in the VC, they're not chatting in chat all the time, and so those are the people that help make the team better and help make even the whales want to play more. And as long as people are contributing their weight in a team like EIS, you're gonna grow. So we're not concerned with your growing. If we're concerned about how active you are, and if you're active, you're gonna grow. So it's not really a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Which alliance EIS looking forward to fight against the most?
I think I've answered this question a few times. I think BDO. I think BDO right now, how both our teams are set, would be a really even good matchup, and I think I could see it going either way. And I think that would be a really interesting, fun one. I know some people in BDO, so I think it'd be a fun one. I like balanced matchups as much as I can. Like I know some of these servers stack the odds in their favor and have really easy matchups, but like I mean, if you're watching like TFS, isn't their war already over? Like, that's just not fun to me. Like what are they gonna farm the rest of the season? Like that's why I stopped playing Rock, right? I didn't want to farm the whole season. So if we can get the matchup somewhat balanced to where it's gonna last, that would be fantastic.
I have the same opinion. Like, I mean, this is a war game, right? Like, sure, making unfair teams could be part of it. Having spies, betraying, it is all obviously everything of it is normal stuff. When it comes to like war-related stuff, but I think you all can agree on that out of all of this stuff, that making fair teams and everyone who plays the game obviously plays it for the war. So making fair, balanced teams on both sides is definitely the aspect of why we play the game, right? Like I don't want to have, like you said, a season where I farmed fucking, I don't know, 1 month of it. Like that's not why I play the game. That's not why I have spent money on this game. I want to play the game for the war. Sure, there need to be also moments of farming and of relaxing, don't get me wrong.
Somewhat, yeah.
But because like always fighting like we had in Season 1 Plus is also not good because people getting tired at some point. But here and there, a break from the fighting and then going back to fighting is exactly how it should be. And for that, having the balanced team like we have right now, right, against War and War, we have basically similar teams, and it's really enjoyable. Like we're having basically every day of fighting. Not constant fighting, since people saving elixir and resources for Zone 3. But if I remember back, SK and VVV, like that was an unfair fight in terms of power aspect, right? At some point, if you guys would have not the better activity, I think we would have not break that choke point, right? So coming back to the point of having same power teams is exactly, I think, what we all agree on and should do.
Yeah, I think everyone, at least I hope. I actually don't think everyone would enjoy balanced matchups. Actually, I think some people prefer to be on the lopsided side, but I think a
Well,
majority of people would like to be on the balanced side and have It's no fun if you know you're gonna win, and it's no fun if you know you're gonna lose. It's fun if there's a chance for either way. You know, and you earn it, right? It feels a lot better that way.
Oh, question to me. If you had the choice of joining any alliance but EIS, who would you join? Um, do you mean now like any alliance in the game? Because then it would be obviously 93HH, right? My own alliance, my own kingdom, but obviously that I will join when Global Migration comes out with my main account. That's also something I mentioned multiple times now. When it would comes to the season 6 server / alliances only, then no one else but EIS. What questions, Draver? Oh, you mean the one above, or? Oh yeah, probably. If EIS lose, how do you think EIS will handle it?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I've been asked that one before in my own team and stuff. I mean, the honest answer is no one knows for sure. Like, you don't know if you haven't lost before. You don't know how certain people will react to it.
Yeah.
I think I know. I think there's a lot of people who have been here for a long time now, because most of our team, the last 2 seasons, didn't gain that many new people. We're a team that's been together for a long time, and a lot of people hop in VC and talk together and play other games, and they're all part of the same teams. So I think a lot of those people are going to stay no matter what happens. So I don't think any of that's a concern. There's obviously people that joined us that are new who would probably who might leave. I don't know. There's some people who would handle losing poorly or blame people. That's going to happen to any team that loses. If you lose, you're not going to hold 100% of your players no matter what, because there's always those few players that are that's just how they are, and they're going to hop, right? Or they're going to leave or go look for a new team, or they're going to get upset they lost. There's going to be those, but as far as the core team, I think EIS is going to be fine.
Yeah, where we're coming back to the point of the community aspect of a game. Exactly what makes that game so enjoyable, right? You're forming basically a team together, you're forming a family, which you sacrifice sleep, which you sacrifice money for, just for to enjoy together the fighting style, the strategies, the trash talking, the talking on VC, playing then also other games together, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of like Thai players and stuff in our team. We have we have people all over the world in EIS, which is so cool. Our team's so evenly divided from so many different time zones, which is the 24-hour activity we have, which is why teams like SK and VVV struggled to hold us, because no matter what time they had to sleep, we weren't asleep. We were always going. We have the degenerates like me who just never sleep and will be there at any time anyway. And then we have the people who go to sleep on their time zones, but there's so many different time zones covered that the activity is just consistent. Our Thai players are also a big part. They come in the Discord and we learn some Thai words, and they'll say some Thai words back and forth, and we'll comment, like my boy Andro, Humluck Andro. Fantastic community base there. Mimo and Ploy will join the chat and talk with us. Def is great. He communicates a lot. We have a lot of Thai players who fit in really well and are really built in at this point, because many have been here since even season 1 or season 1 plus. We have some Indonesian players like Bloodfallen from all the way back in season 1. Just like it's cool seeing all these people from other countries, even Asian countries, Middle East, EU, and everyone's clicking. A lot of teams you'll see heavy NA or EU getting together, or you'll see all Asians getting together, and like it's cool that EIS has both.
Yeah. Oh, big question. Watching the Zone 2 fight in your season and at some point it looked like we're going to get the work. How was your perspective as leader in EIS when this was happening, and how did you turn it around?
Sorry, which season? I didn't hear the first part of that.
The current season.
The current season?
Yeah.
At what part?
The Zone Okay, I'll read it again. Watching the Zone 2 fight in new season, so Woe, and at some point it looked like Woe were going to get the work. How was your perspective as leader in the EIS when this was happening, and how did you guys turn it around?
Well, when did it look like they were gonna get rocked? Like when they were pushing for it when it opened? Like I guess I'm
I
confused on
guess
the
so.
question. There was never a point I was worried about losing rock, so I don't know how to answer that question. If it's about them pushing the middle choke, we were always okay with falling back to where we have currently fallen back, and we wanted to hold from here. We got overzealous and ambitious pushing that left side and over pushed it because they had super low activity at the time after rock, and it was bad time zone for them, and we pushed pretty far, and we probably over pushed it and lost more troops than we needed to just because they seemed pretty demoralized, and we thought it was basically going to be over at that point. They came back really strong after and resource healed when all their people woke up and just took the land back. So that was a good pushback by Roe. And then, but we were always going to let them take that back once we had messed up and over pushed to begin with. And we were just falling back to the bottom side of the rock where we owned the entrance.
Yeah. I skipped the question. Where? Can you resend that question which I have skipped? Any other question I have missed? Yeah, guys, if you have a question, just type it into the chat. And if I miss it, then resend it, please. How do you feel about the fact that when migration opens, we're gonna steal bees from you fully?
I mean, that's fine. He always said when he joined he was gonna go start his project and do his own thing in his own server.
Yeah.
So we've been happy to have Beast here when he's been here. We've known him since season 1+, and we had a fun time there. We told him to come over. He should have come over then, but he didn't, and he got a second chance in season 2+ and came over. So we'll see how many seasons we have him and how long it'll take for them to open that, because it looks like it might be a while.
Yeah. I mean, they say global migration Q3, but well, we never know. Way. They said it will come out, but if it's really coming out in Q3, we will see. But yeah, like you said, I said from the beginning, look, guys, that's what I want to do. I want to do my own project again. Want to build something up again, like I did in 69, because I think back then 69, what I built it up. It could have been successful if I would have not implemented that stupid counter system, and other people getting at the top and basically owning the server, if you want to say so. So I was like pissed about myself that I did it, and also sad about the point that the after season 1+, basically the server were going down. And I were like, okay, this is not like how I gonna lead. I can do it better. So I started again, and where we are in 293, having basically across our alliances already 10 billion power. So yeah, and that's what I said from the beginning when I joined the EIS. Is there Danish people in EIS?
Yes. I know there's a few. I don't know the exact number.
As a High King, do you promise to respect your members and not impose taxes on them?
Respect which members, and I am going to tax people, yes. Especially if it's like Mo Moy or Danya, they're getting taxed.
Let's go. Get the free gems.
And Andro. Andro's getting taxed too. Jaderb is definitely getting taxed.
OG getting a voice in 69 destroyed. Yeah, I agree on this. I mean I said it, I think, to you somewhere. I was like as a person, he's not bad, but his decision making in the game was basically what caused the server to die. Because you have 5, I wanted your opinion on a system I am implementing for H8. Would you and be like to look at it after the stream and give me your 2 cents? If
Go ahead.
he's up for so if you're fine with that, I can make a chat and whenever you have time.
Yeah, I can take a look at it if you want, but not right after this meeting. I have some things
Yeah.
I have to do right after this call. But man, I'm glad they added the tax system because I've been looking for some way to get my members to pay me for being R5. So I can't wait to tax them.
Exactly what I think too. Especially also the part or that you have, I think, wait, you have 10 green shares, 5 blue shares, 2? There's 2 or 3
Yeah, I do like
purple?
that because
This is awesome.
we've wanted ways to like reward our members. I know, like, I think Kyle from FSK actually logs on his member's account and buys them packs, but it's kind of
that's
cool that you
crazy.
can just send. Yeah, I thought. Well, that's what I heard. I don't know if that's true at all, but
Yeah.
I have people that came from FSK, and that's what they said. But I do think it's cool that there's packs now you can just send to people and reward them each week. I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah, definitely. Also, you know what is really good? You have been fucking line skills, which you can reactivate over time, so you can spend your donation points. You know how good it is? You don't need to spawn any more of these stupid behemoths over time, so you have some donation points to spend on. This is so good.
Speaking on behemoths, they need to buff behemoths in my opinion. They haven't been a problem since like season 2. Like season 2, people used to back off of flags and just let you free burn because they were so worried about behemoths. Now people just sit and nuke them. Like behemoths should be somewhat scary when you summon them on the battlefield, you know? Right? Ever since I think we played TFS's season and behemoths weren't a factor on either side. They just disappeared. It's like
that's true.
They were useless. And then you have to put so much effort into them just to get the elites. Get on in the middle of the night and get up and do these hard boss raids. Although I guess this season they're not hard, but season 2 plus they were extremely hard for little value.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were at some point like never really scary. Only at the beginning when you don't have that much T5, right? Like right now for us, we have like 20 T5s and they are scary. They're doing tons of damage, but as soon as you have like, I don't know, more than 50 T5 players and a lot of them are on, you can just nuke it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're weak. They need to be adjusted. I do like the skills they're adding to the new kingdom where they can I think I saw like Fog of War where ranged units can't shoot into it for a time period. That's broken. But it's like 30 minutes of free burn time. I mean, they got to have something in place to help with pushing because a lot of teams seem to have struggled pushing in even matchups. So I think it's good for them to add stuff in the game like that. And Behemoth should be that, right? If you're struggling on defense or on offense, they should be a tool that gives you that ground for 10 minutes, right?
What is your suggestions for leaders that can continue to grow their communities and maintain an atmosphere that constitutes growth?
There's 2 different types of growth. There's community growth and there's competitive growth, and you have to choose your lane. You can't do both. If you want to be a community, you can get the friends you want and get it all set up how you want and enjoy. If you want to be a competitive team, you've got to cut the people that are dead weight and holding you back. Even if you're friends with them, you can still be friends with them, but they're just not a fit in your team if you're trying to be competitive, right? Or they'll be the ones dragging you down and making it harder for you to win. You'll have to, set up some sort of system to track activity and cut those that aren't helping.
Yeah, I agree. I try to have it like 50-50. So I mean, I need to say like some things what you guys doing in EIS. Obviously, I got inspired by that. As I said already, we have the same system with a power merit ratio and stuff like that. But we are like when it comes to people making mistakes or not hitting requirements, we're not like kicking them out directly. So I try to make it like kind of balance between having the community aspect, but also the competitive aspect, because in my personal opinion, about the long-term run of a game. This is what gives you basically the ability to be one of the top teams. I skipped again the question.
You have to have activity. It doesn't matter if you have whales and you're strong if the whales don't come and fight.
Yeah, exactly. And but back to the point of the whales, right? What you just mentioned. What I see many do, especially the new leaders and new alliances, they see they're getting a whale or someone who pushing crazy, and they're like, oh, you are 4 now, you are like at the top in of the alliance, and you like leadership, and we do whatever you say. But I don't know about this. Like, many people just don't know that treating whales as different persons and like weighs them really high, in my opinion, just moves these people away from their team. Like, in
I
my
mean,
opinion.
you don't want to cater to people who aren't going to help you win and aren't going to play the game. I mean, some people don't know how to look at a whale just because they're high power and see, oh, this guy doesn't fight, and it's not someone you want in your team because he's also taking up a lot more space in your server than other people are. And obviously the competitive people who come, they won't want special treatment. They'll want everyone to be held to the same standard so they have the most chance to win. They'll want everyone to have to. They want someone to get everyone in line and make sure no one's dead weight, right? They want everyone to hold their own.
Yeah. What do you think about role toxicity? Well, you answered already earlier, right? Like, every team have toxicity, and it's kind of part of a game that it happened that some people are just being toxic. But here's the difference between being toxic and being or just trash talking, right? That's something
Right.
you need to mention, guys. Like, trash talking doesn't mean being toxic. It's like, there's a difference. But many people don't see the difference, and as soon as you start trash talking, they're like, oh yeah, you being toxic and stuff like that.
Right.
Ooh. Okay, interesting question. Who does Dark think is the best R5 in the game besides himself, if he's confident it's him?
I don't know that I'm the best R5 in the game. I do know that I put in a lot of effort and my team likes me, and that's all I really care about. I don't care if I'm considered the best R5 in the game or the worst R5 in the game. There's plenty of people who would say I'm the worst R5 in the game and hate me. I don't, it's opinion based. I mean, everyone's going to have their different opinions. It is hard to say who the best R5 in the game is. That's interesting. It's definitely got to be one of the top teams, right? A lot of the teams we ran into, though, their R5s didn't last. The teams changed R5s. The R5s had a council system, and the R5s changed. So like BXS has multiple R5s, right? So they don't have one R5. They have a council system as well. So it's hard for me to say who the best R5 is. That's a good question. It could be very well. I think BDO has a council system too, don't they?
I don't know. I would say
there's I've talked to the R5 from EDS, Pradat, and he's a pretty cool guy. He might as well be from the chats I've had with him. He seems to run his team a lot like we ran EIS. They've been very successful. He's putting teams together. So I think he's probably, from who I've met and talked to, and on the top of my mind, he's probably the best R5 I've talked to.
Okay. Well, that's right, like you said, opinion based. If we're looking on the stats and the history of servers, you could see a difference there, right? Like, between based on the game and what this alliance/server have accomplished and achieved, because like I said already earlier, EIS is the only undefeated team from the current servers who are in their sixth season. So you could consider, say, because of this point, that based on just on looking the game, right, and the history of Alliance/Stir, but that you are the best of 5. But obviously, when it comes to opinions of people, then everyone have a different opinion. Like that,
I mean, yeah. I
that
mean,
you can't. It's
you can
hard to
make the
say.
argument on the best R5, but I don't know. I mean, does my leadership style work? I mean, apparently, but like, I don't know if it could just be that we have great members. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the motivational factor for them or if they had it in them the whole time, right? Am I dragging it out, or are all these members just super active members to begin with? I got really lucky in a sense. Like, season 1, I mean, we met some really great people. Like, EIS wouldn't be a 24-hour active team if we didn't have the Thai team with us, right? They came in and were a huge part of our team, and Prey Youth came in and she was a huge recruitment piece in season 1 and 1+ and stuff, right? Everyone sees a super large whale and they want to join. So like, she was a massive part of getting EIS started. I mean, the resources she sent to people is what really stood out. She sent so many resources to people and helped them grow, our lower tier members that didn't spend as much or were low spenders, and just always loaded them up. Like, I think she has 36 billion resources sent, the most in the game or something like that. So, I mean, she was definitely a massive part in turning EIS to what it is. So, I mean, some of it's my leadership, but some of it's just the people we had and everyone working together as well.
Yeah. Guys, again, if you have a question, I missed it, just resend it, please.
I can take a few more questions, Beast, and then I got to get going in about 8 minutes.
Sure. Sounds good. Would Doug consider himself as a dictator?
100%, yes.
All right.
We like, I'm gonna run the team the best way to think of win. I think that's what everyone prefers to do. I will run it to make sure we win. If people aren't happy, you know, they'll either let me know or they'll leave. You know, I'll make the best decisions I can. And so I've found that dictatorship is the most effective way. A lot of these council systems have slow decisions or have R1 R5 making this decision, then the next R5 logs in and causes drama, or makes it a different decision, or goes, no, well, let's do this, and it's just not a good system. A top-down system is much better in these games, what I've seen over the years.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, counter system is maybe when it comes to like decision making, it's nice to have different opinions and stuff, but at the end you have also your R4 team, and being a dictator doesn't mean that you just say to your people, oh, you do that, you do that, you do that, you do that, and I just relax. You know, like, it just means that one person is at the charge, and you have your team around you, and they're giving your opinions, and you know,
yeah, I put in a
like
lot
that.
of work into the team for sure. Like, I'm playing 20-hour days like all the time, and that's why people allow me to tell them what to do. Like, they see the work put in, they like the leadership style, they like what's going on. But I mean, also, like, a lot of the decisions I make, I'm asking my R4s for questions. Sometimes I'm even annoyed because they're not giving me answers. I'm pinging them like, yo, answer my fucking questions. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I have some questions. I can't make a decision for myself. Let's talk about this. So, I mean, I don't make every decision myself, but at the end of the day, if I have something I truly believe in, or if I have some, like, I'm gonna do it, right? Like, in I think in season 2+, there was an argument when we ended up winning against SK and DDV, and everyone's like, okay, push schedule, let's go to the left as planned. And I'm looking at the map and I don't see SK anywhere. I'm like, guys, why don't we go up on this ramp and push their choke point? They don't have anyone online. And everyone's like, well, why would we do that? It's a choke point. Like, we can't go up the ramp. That's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And we had a back and forth for about 5 minutes. And then I was like, no, we're going to this ramp. We're going to do this. Let's go. And then everyone followed to the ramp, and once we took the ramp, everyone was on board. We were pinging Discord. It was a big morale boost. Everyone got on and just pushed super hard. And so I think decisions like that are important instead of having a back and forth. And if you know you're right, you should do it. And I'm at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my decisions, right? If I made that decision and it went south and went terrible, everyone can blame me, and I'm totally fine with that. But if the risk and reward's there, right? If I really believe in a decision, we're gonna do it. And if I fucked up, then you can blame me for it.
All right. Most important question here: does Dark eat chicken wings with blue cheese or ranch?
Wings with I eat wings with I get mild sauce. That's what I eat wings with. No ranch. Hate ranch.
Let's Draver asks a question also similar like that is obviously what is Dark's favorite fast food?
Fast food. I don't know. Chick-fil-A maybe. Chick-fil-A is good. I like chicken.
Does Dark have a real life?
Nope, not at all. Just a degenerate. This is my life, right? Let's just sit on this game. It's my life. Boom.
Honest answer.
I was being sarcastic somewhat, but yes.
Is EIS got a good memer? I guess someone who makes memes.
I hate giving Momoy credit for anything, but she made a really good meme video about TFS.
True. I saw it.
One that stood out to me was Upjinx. Upjinx has some memes that is, he's a Thai player in our team, and I never see him talk much, but he posted several memes last season that had me laughing pretty good. Like he had some pretty good ones. So I don't know if there's any good memers per se, but Upjinx I guess stood out to me. I was laughing at quite a bit of his.
Guys, we have about 3 to 5 minutes left, and then Dark needs to go. So if you have like any real questions like about the game, about EIS, about his person, then ask them now. Okay, guess people just want to know what type of foods you eat. Do you eat pineapple on your pizza?
No, absolutely not.
Whoever is doing that,
you're so messed up if you do that.
Yeah, definitely. Like this is just no.
Who's my favorite row member? It has to be Daisy. Sorry about that. My brother's dog starts barking.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I believe Daisy reached out to me in season 2, or talked to me there at the end of season 2, and then season 2 plus she was talking to me during the SKVVV season. So I've talked to her for a long time, and then we joined this season. And I was like, well, we matched now, huh? Momoy, all you do is bark, Momoy.
Oh man. Hey guys, again, if you have any question, okay. Dark, you said earlier that you are removing 10 to 20 members. What criteria specifically right now makes you confident you know you're removing whose members?
I'm not confident in it at all. I was just giving a rough estimate because, I mean, from each season, there's at least about 10 to 20 people we need to remove. People have had moments where they sucked really bad at beginning of seasons and did really well at the end, or vice versa, where they looked like they were going to have a great season and then at the end did nothing. And so it's a balance, and I won't know until the end of the season. It just depends what people do. Nothing's set in stone per se, so we'll just see. But I would say the number is going to be between 10 to 20, and 20 is quite on the high side. But that's usually the range, I guess, of at least a minimum people we end up kicking.
It's a question if we would have division migration, right? They said in the current season but I mean, is it like really about every server who is right now not in season 1 having a last time division migration? Like or not? That would be interesting to know from me personally. To be honest, I think there are some role players would be nice in EIS, and the other way.
Yeah, obviously we can be a little less strict on activity if they make a lot more space, but that all varies on how much space we have. I would love to have a team that's just like one step down of activity from EIS that's full and we can keep going, and we're like, you still have minimum requirements, but it's not as high a requirements as like EIS, and you can still come be a part of our server. But we will always, no matter what, have requirements that keep people active. At the end of the day, we're trying to compete, so people have to play the game. But I would be interested in setting up a good sub team. So it just depends. Like LSK right now is a great sub team. Like we might end up taking them with us next season. So we'll just have to see how it goes, how much space we have, and who all we can keep in there.
But guys, he kind of needs to go. So two more questions, if that's fine for you. For your new members and old, what will be your criteria to reward members with these new shares? I guess with shares from the King system.
Can you ask that again? Sorry.
For your new members and old, what will be your criteria to reward members with these new shares?
I assume rewards would go out to people who stood out on the battlefield or was really slinging tanks out there and and doing some extra work on the field. It's gonna obviously have something to do with the battlefield and keeping up with merits, or we might just have some fun contests here or there, or we go play a team game or something, and whoever wins that game or that contest, or we play a poker game and whoever wins gets the chest or whatever, something fun. I don't know. Like we'll get creative with it, but a lot of it's gonna have to do with the battlefield and who's contributing on the battlefield. We'll probably have like special rewards for people, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or what Jader said. All rewards might go to Mimo employee. That's very possible.
That's a possible way, you say?
That's a possibility. No promises.
Yeah, but what makes these shares so awesome is that they refresh every week. Like you said, that gives opportunities to make fun contests and stuff like that. Especially since they refresh every week, and you have every week 18 shares which you can give away. So, will we be for sure some fun stuff going on, and people will get creative and
yeah. It'll be fun. It'll cause some drama too, but it'll like any other system, like the villages, limited space, more drama. Everyone's like, I can't fit in this village. I deserve a right to have this village. Like, okay, dude, calm down. It's 1,000 healing a day.
Yeah.
It's got to be the same with these gifts. I can already see it, but we'll definitely have it structured based so everyone knows who's getting it based on. I mean, we'll have contests and we'll do who's doing well on the battlefield, stuff like that.
All right, let's do one more question. How many EIS members do you see joining NTS and WoW at the end of season?
I guess it would obviously depend how much space was added anyway, if they even have space in their server, and how much space we get added on our server, and how many people we're kicking. But I don't know. I'm sure they'll at least get like 5 or 10, I imagine.
It's also the question about if people can, what is the correct word for that? Picture themselves into that alliance, like that they think that WoW or NTS is the current alliance which they want to go for, and which they think,
we had one player already join NTS, but they were Russian, so it made sense, Like he was really respectful with how he did it. Like he only joined us last season. He was an LSK. He earned the right to follow us this season. He said, "Hey, I appreciate being a part of this team. Like I want to go talk with a bunch of my Russian friends," and that's one group we don't have a lot of. I think we have one Russian in our team. So he just wanted to go play with a Russian team, and it makes sense to me. So all power to him. Wish him well. We had a Chinese group leave for SK, and they left on way worse terms. Just last second, didn't warn us ahead of time, dropped our team right before, 5 minutes before, so we had to try to fill our team up before, because that was the season where you could carry your whole team on to the next season. So that was a mess, but he definitely handled it way better.
Federico, I don't ignore you. I just asked you a question. What are you talking about? You should make more of these kind of streaming. Sure. Yeah, guys, if you have like anyone in your mind which you want me to do these kind of interviews, then let me know. You can type me that on Discord or you message me in game. I'm just open. I think these kind of interviews with viewers Q&A at the end is pretty enjoyable. And there's also then an opportunity for you guys to ask, for example, now Dark, if you have something on your mind. So yeah, I will probably do more kind of these interviews in the future. So again, if you have someone on your mind which you want that I interview, and let me know the name, let me know the lines, and I contact that person. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was fun, Beast. Thanks for having me.
thanks for your time. I almost took now 2 hours of your time. So definitely
Well,
thanks.
yeah, I expected an hour, but hey, it was actually quite fun and talking. So glad we could entertain for a couple hours.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for answering honest questions. Really enjoyed this type of interview. And also nice that we got here now some background information about EIS, about yourself, what kind of leadership EIS have. So yeah. Thanks also everyone who asked at the end the questions, and thanks everyone who was watching. So yeah, with that, guys, I will end here now the stream. And I wish you a great rest of the day. Have a great start into the next day. Stay healthy, everyone. And we're gonna see us then on the next one.